Good morning, everybody. I've got an hour before work here. Gonna have a late start today, so I want to do a video. I've had a lot of messages. Some are kind of upsetting because people are crossing boundaries, reaching out to my children, which is wrong. I don't care who you are. That's wrong. You don't reach out to people's underage kids. It's totally a breach of boundaries. And like I said, it's totally wrong. But which brings me in to what we need to talk about as we continue forward. We take everybody from a wide range, but there's a big difference here. We're not capital CCP, not even close. In fact, completely the opposite. I get it that everybody has ideas, but there's fundamental positions we're taking here that are unlike any party in Canadian history. Communism, we're actually the complete opposite. I get it that people have their ideas, and some of these socialist ideas that have been played out all over the world. We are attempting to end class structure of Canada, which is a 3-class system. First, second, third, and we also have a complete set of genocidal assimilation policies embedded in our Constitution, enacted in many acts and laws, both federally and provincially, that have to be abolished. We want to reset everybody. We want to settle Canada. What does that really mean? That means for everybody. It means millions of acres for the First Peoples of Canada. And a reverse order, starting with those who got the least are going to get the most, and we work our way across the board. Together, all peoples. Then there's a settlement of 35 acres for every man, woman, and child in Canada. That's reality. That's what can be done here. We're going through constitutionalism. Federally, full dismemberment, meaning tearing out the federal constitution, everything that supports colonialism and class structure. That means implementing rules of governance, how to govern, and accountability for that current first-class system that has to be abolished. It's been abolished all over the world. It's we, the people. That means your economic situation will be up to you. All of you are writing the Constitution, not me, not the party, not any founding members. It's not for everyday people. All countries who do that end up always, 90% of the time, in full tyrannical socialism every time, and the country goes down the toilet. Why? Because everyday people who were mightily oppressed always gravitate. It's just a human condition. You can look at world history and you'll find out those who fought for the freedom 99% of the time end up in full tyranny. USA is a freak situation. Other than that, every other institution since then that went through the process, if not imposed by the Allies of World War II, ended up in radical dictatorships, which I see the same kind of people coming forward. Oh, I'm going to solve world hunger. Oh, modular living. The problem with communism, and why I won't support it, won't go there, won't take the go-to for everybody of that narrative, and they think, oh, this will solve everything, is because you get a 2-tier class system. Think of it as a first and a third class, no second, meaning the government is the second and first class. All you're doing is getting rid of the middle class, that second class, that merchant, where the government decides all businesses, government decides everything, and the vast majority of the population is down in third class. First and third, that's the difference. Sure, we'd all be equal, and for a little bit things might be better in the communist narrative, but guess what? every time in the long term, that greedy, seedy, first class, fully in charge of everybody will go corrupted. They always do. And they go down the toilet. This is history. Communism isn't that old. It's not that old in the world. It's actually a relatively new system in the spectrum of political established systems. It's reality. And it can go for a while. It can have its little golden age, but it wears off. And why? Because somebody has to do the shit work. Now, there's those that will stay in school forever, they'll stay in the system, and they'll never really contribute. That's what happens. Because why would you contribute? And what happens is every time it becomes forced labor, meaning somebody has to be made to do the shit work. And there is the undoing of the entire system. And sure, you can use military, police might, you can quell people, you can do all kinds of things because you have exactly what we have right now, government in full charge with zero accountability, zero rules of governance or how to govern. And even if they have those rules, because they have ultimate all the power, autocratic power, the system will undo itself. Because people don't do things for free. They don't. Who wants to be in toxic environments? Who wants to be working in sewer, for example? Who wants to do that? Who's born and says, boy, I can't wait till I grow up. I want to work in sewer. I want to be under in everybody's piss and shit. I hate to use that terminology, but it's reality. And that's why it never works. And people just love that from the far left side. They just love the idea that I won't do nothing and somebody else is going to pay my way. And as time goes on, more and more people want to do less. And that's when forced labor comes along and people are made to do things. And that's what happens every time in communism. Exactly opposite of what we're trying to do. At some point, people have to be accountable for their lives. Are there always going to be those who aren't able to contribute at the same level? Yes. Does that require social policies to protect those individuals? Absolutely. But viable social programs and full-on socialist concepts where people are mandated to do for somebody else is wrong, and it's a form of slavery. It always leads to that. It has to be forced, and that's why, no way. These people who come up with these ideas have been brought forward many, many times. Right now, you can go to China. If you haven't seen the documentary, Communist China, go look at coffin cities. Look at the former USSR. Everyone's heard of Chernobyl. Everyone, if you haven't seen that documentary, oh yeah, nuclear, all that. But if you go beyond that, to the actual city of Chernobyl and that new age design of affordable living where you stay in a 15-kilometer radius, nobody has vehicles, it's a busing program by the government, only government officials, which government has to be bloated because government needs to watch every person and force them into their positions. That's reality. Force you to produce. And again, everyone lives in the same accommodations. Everyone has the same things, which isn't much at all. Where's the desire to grow, to achieve, to get better? And people say, oh, people will, like Star Trek. Oh, people are going to change. Humans don't change. History proves this time and time again. We always revert back into the few overwhelm the many through police, military might, and autocracy to get them to generate for those few. That's reality. Even in capitalism, you can't have pure capitalism because it looks an awful lot like absolute communism. And this is the problem with the extreme left and extreme right. We want to destroy those barriers. We're not taking any of the extremes from either. We take a shift of policies to correct each other. And it's you who will design that, not me, not a party. That's for all of you. That's what constitutionalism is about. No Canadians ever heard of big C constitutionalism. The reason why we use the capital C, small p, is because party and little c constitutionalism is in the minor. We use big C codification as you all the people having written rules of governance, how to govern, and accountability for all those that would serve you. Meaning taking the current pyramid and flipping it upside down. Meaning here's you, all the people on the top, and those at the bottom are in government serving you the way you design it. USA is not a perfect model. It's very old. It's a good model. It's a great model. It's done a lot for the world, but it's not complete because it's very, very old, a very old system. We can do much, much better in today. All of you can do that with the greatest experts in the world, presenting you real history, going through all your policy ideas. I'm not implementing policies of how Canada is going to run in post-2023 if we win an election. You all are. After you get the greatest minds in town hall. Now, people, you can either gravitate to that and understand the value of that, but as for getting me to make promises or we're going to do this at some group's expense, I don't think so. I don't think so. The day of average people, or even below average people, but they got a populism about them, and then telling you all, oh, I got the greatest concept, I'm sponsored by all these groups, sponsor what I'm doing, do this, do that. No. The only thing I'm sponsoring is we, the people. We show you how to destroy the crown and how you, the people, in town halls right across this country, First Peoples and all Canadians, right across the system, regionally and federally, you're going to design all that in a 3 to 6 month period. If we're ascended to a minority government, we just need the crown, and we can do that. That is all we're rolling out. A platform unlike any other. I have great faith that all people, when taught in the real history of the world, in all of its narratives, not specifics to promote a first-class system, when you get the truth of all of it from the greatest minds in the world who do this every day of their life for a living, doctorates in their field, highly published, filling all of you in town halls, letting you roll out all the stuff, you will all decide in majority fashion the way it should be. There's a First People settlement, self-determination, self-government, and absolutely settling all the claims, which means a lot more land for the First Peoples. Unimaginable today. Should have been done a long time ago, but the autocrats keep it all for themselves. 79% of Canada is unavailable to everybody. We're going to settle it like every other nation in the world besides other former colonials. It's not normal. It's not right. There's nothing good about the system we are in that continues to go. Little C constitutionalism, which is what Canada almost entirely runs on, is unwritten rules, unwritten systems that the first class get to rule on. They get to make it up as they go, change things at will, and often undemocratically, meaning none of you had a say or an option to even input. Few policies they campaign on. Meanwhile, for a 4-year period after the election, they enact literally sometimes hundreds, many a month after month, for a whole 48-month period. And you all are never any wiser, but your rights and freedoms stripped away. New imposition of fees, taxes. There is nothing free. When they say government money, that's code for taxpayer tax increases or service fees that you're supposed to already own. Why do you keep paying more? When does it stop? How much of your GDP generation, each and every one of you, must you give up for somebody else who didn't earn it? Now, again, viable social programs everybody can contribute to is the only path forward. And yes, there's going to be people who can't contribute to society, but we can't give people a free pass to say, hey, I sit on my hands and let somebody else do it all for me. It's not what your country can do for you, it's what you can do for your country. Those were strong words. You can go in history left and right, supposed people they say, but the reality is all these messages have come up time and time again. It's not about the left, it's not about the right, it's about up and down. How much power over you do you want strangers to have? Over your families, your lives? Ask the First Peoples in the entirety of Canadian history, how does it feel? And they'll tell you it's god awful, it destroys generations. And people who talk, oh, Europe did so much for those people. It's easy to say when it wasn't your children taken, murdered, raped, molested, transformed psychologically, destroying the peoples. It's easy to say that. Europe's history, out of Rome, out of all of it in its entirety, is not anything to brag about or saying, hey, it's great. People of today haven't experienced this. Now, some groups do. The government frequently targets different minority groups as they go on to strip more and more away from all the people. And people don't wake up to it. A lot of new groups woke up in COVID. Do you think you're the first time or the first ones the Canadian politicians did this to? This has been our system for many, many, many decades. Over and over and over again, they tear it all apart. That's what they do. And people still don't wake up to it. And then things will get better for a little bit, but the costs associated grow, grow, grow. Fees are just a fancy word for deferred taxes or reapplied taxes. Oh, I taxed businesses, but they put the fees at the end user, which is all of you. That's a socialism too, capitalist socialist. Now, conservatives, they try to say they're conservative. Any taxes are just the government's way of saying we need more money to do more of the baloney we've been doing and deliver you nothing, except you must work harder to have the same standard of living. Well, there's a maximum on that. So when we hit the maximum, they just keep taking more from you or they devalue you. There's nothing conservative about that. A wealthy elite get rich while the vast majority, the many, working harder than ever, have a lot less and are able to buy a lot less, meaning your standard of living's gone down, but your costs have gone up. What good is that? How is that any different than a socialist who's ramping up your taxes and spending on everything but you? How is that any better? How are they any different? There isn't. A globalist agenda, a wealthy elite globalist agenda, and then a government superpowered socialist agenda. How is it any different if it's a wealthy elite government, big government, with all of their government friends running all the major businesses, or a smaller government, but they've diverted everything to the wealthy elite business friends? How is that any different? All of you pay either way. See how there's no happy medium here? There's one extreme to the other, and when you go so far to the right, you find the left, and when you go so far to the left, you find the right. That's reality. Great men and women of the past will tell you this. It's history proven over and over again. And anyone saying, oh, I'm a pure capitalist, you might as well call yourself a complete socialist. And those marching towards the socialism, you might as well just say you're the globalist of the elite wealthy. Either way, it's the same people. It's the same people. Do you think these wealthy elites care if it's big government and their buddies that they pay off, or if it's a small government and they have full access to the monopoly. Do you think they care? Do you think Bill Gates cares? No. He made it in America a more capitalist society, got on the extreme of the capitalism. Now he's dabbling in all kinds of countries and systems of extreme socialism, where the people have no say and the middle class is eroded. That's reality. And people still try to come forward with these narratives, or think that I'm going to jump on board with narratives. We're not big C, P. We're not communists. We're never going to support that narrative. We're never going to ever forget that there's big C, little c constitutionalism, and the party's small. Big C codification for you, the people. Something we don't have at all, hardly any in Canada. Very little, a crown colonial power of the few elite divine politicians. No we the people. No higher power supremacy, meaning you give supremacy absolutely to that elite government. Divinity even. Not good. Not good to be worshipping men and women who may not even have the brains to even run a country and have no business running a country, but because of their wealth, populism, and corruption, they get in, and because there's no rules of governance, know how to govern, and zero accountability, they rape, pillage, and plunder all of you. At your great expense, at your children's great expense, at your grandchildren, great-grandchildren's much more expense, to the point we're coming to a cusp where there's no turning back here. The damage will be too late and done, and all of a sudden everyone will be going, how did this happen? Well, history will show you it happens over and over and over again, because you allow people to have power over the many, and people are corrupted. They always are. It's just the way it is. That's the majority. Majority are corrupted and corruptible. Human nature, proven time and time and time again. People need to have a level of the idea that they can better themselves and get rewarded for it. If you can't have production and reward, you don't got nothing, because nobody is going to work harder than anybody else when that doesn't give you any kind of value. Nobody's going to work overtime, so why would you? You're going to have to force people, and that's the problem. That's the problem. In both ways, that's what they do. Both ways. Mandate you. Oh, we can't pay you overtime. Oh, there's no tax revenue. Oh, we're just going to take more of what you net as you work harder for less. That's not even legal in this world. That's not how the world's designed today. Hasn't been that way for 70 years. But still, this rogue NWO, New World Order, which is a pile of UN General Assembly states, breaking from international law, international narrative, and trying to go the way of the Axis powers. That's what all human beings always want to do. People are corrupt and greedy. 80% will always be corrupted. You can't trust people to do the right thing. They won't. If they can take from somebody else, they will. They will. We have to make this narrative. We have to stay the course. We're not entertaining any ideas of delusional systems that have already been proven time and time again not to work. Not to work. Only less than 19% of Canada, for all the people of Canada, all peoples, is for you. That's it. And it's a divided peoples. Only 11% for all of Canadians. A completely lowest number in the world. You look at the United States, entirely settled. Entirely. There's not a region or landmass not available. They have government parks, all that. But the percentage is low. Canada has all that too. 3% of Canada is for the government. Why does 79% sit unavailable? Only available for the wealthy elite politicians to lease at filling their back pockets, getting kickbacks, while you all suffer with the damage caused, and you all have to give your wealth to clean it up or fix it. That's what this is. When wealthy organizations start saying, oh, we need public money to ensure this because we can't stand on our own 2 feet on our own, that screams corruption. That screams the worst scenario. And when you hear the terms coming forward and conservatives are signing on and embracing it, that's not conservative. That's an extreme socialist. Now they could say, oh, but it'll create jobs. If working people have to work for a living to supplement something like that, it's garbage. You can name it in the name of environmentalism, you can name it in anything, but at the end of the day, if it's not viable enough to run on its own 2 feet and generate its own wealth, and you have to implement your wealth into it, that's called taxation without representation. And the only real representation is a wealthy elite politician who's getting a kickback in their back pocket, and you're all paying for it, meaning your country's not generating wealth for that. You're giving your wealth to supplement something else. You need primary industry. You need to produce. If you don't have that, you can kiss all your viable social programs goodbye, because that money has to come from somewhere. And that means it's diverted from your services. Thanks, that's my video this morning. Share, share, share. We're not going to be adopting policies that have anything to do with transitioning in to forcing people into a narrative. That's the disease of all political parties in Canada, and we're not creating a 2-tier communist system. We're not creating any tier system. We're creating the power of we the people. You'll all decide how that's going to go going forward. Not me, not a minority group of party persons, just like every other autocrat Canada's ever seen. We will be developing provincial constitutions which have never been seen, enshrining what are called fundamental rights, your civil rights that no Canadian has ever had, unless the government charges you money for it. And people think this is a great thing. It's not. It's wrong, wrong, wrong. That's my video today, everybody. Thanks. Share, share, share. Get on with the program, because we're not sponsoring any ideas of forcing anything on any masses. We are absolutely giving constitutionalism entirely by the world's greatest minds at a cost of $140 million. Think of 1,000 referendums in a 3 to 6 month period, which is the cost of an entire federal referendum or individual provincial referendums. Just one. And we're going to do thousands in one shot, unlike anything else the world's ever seen. Not through revolution, but evolution. Power of the people. That's why we're going for the crown. We're destroying the crown, and we're giving you, the people, the power with the world's greatest experts. So everyone gets the same narrative, real true history by the best of the best who've done all the work. Many, many books written. Real history, no more left baloney, no more right baloney, just absolute truth. And all your questions are answered in that period with those experts. And you'll all decide going forward what those rules of governance, how to govern, and accountability will look like. What you want to see in your Constitution. You'll be taught. I'm not writing the Constitution. The party's not writing the Constitution. We, the people, that means everybody. After getting a great education no Canadians ever seen in their life. And First Peoples. Never. Learn the truth and real history. When you have a question, you say, hey, I like this policy, and then they're going to show you the history of countries who actually implemented your idea and how that turned out. And then you decide. Real truth, that's what matters. Not people telling you, oh, this will be great without any kind of proof or history behind them. And it's over and over and over again that a wealthy elite ends up with all the cake and you get the crumbs, working hard to sweep it all up, bake the cake, the pie, and they eat it and you get the crumbs. That's what happens every time, and we're not going to allow that. That's going to end. Thank you. Again, that's my video. Share. Just about time to header. Okay, bye now.